This costs 10,948 USD. Now this costs 6,489 USD. I know that most of us would rather have this, the best of the best, but most of us would rather pay this a solid alternative that still gets the job done. In today's video, I'm gonna give you a list of the most popular wedding photography gear professionals actually use with budget-friendly alternatives that still deliver amazing results. But I get it, even 6,489 USD is a lot of money to invest up front. And most of us don't just have that sitting around. So at the end, I'll tell you exactly which things you should buy first to get started so you can start making money right away and upgrade when you're ready. So let's get into it. Starting with your camera body, which is generally the biggest investment in your kit. And I'll definitely recommend buying it brand new from the store so it comes with warranty instead of buying secondhand from Marketplace, for example. My main camera is the Sony a7 IV, and I actually invested in this pretty early on when I was starting out because 1, I had the money at the time, and 2, I knew that I wouldn't be upgrading anytime soon. Also, back then I was doing videography, so I needed something that could handle both photo and video really well. This camera is 100% worth it if you have the budget. But before I got the a7 IV, I actually second shot a few weddings using the Sony a6600, which, being honest, is not really ideal for wedding photography because it's not full frame, it doesn't have dual card slots, and while it's a great camera for other things, I wouldn't recommend it if you are leading a wedding. If you're looking for something cheaper but still professional, I would go for the Sony a7 III. It's honestly very similar to the a7 IV in terms of build. It has dual card slots, great image quality, and it does the job for weddings. The biggest difference for me would be the autofocus. I don't think it's as fast as the a7 IV, but it's still good. Also, if you're planning to do video, the a7 III doesn't record in S-Log3 or 4K, so it's not the best option for hybrid shooters. But if you're just starting out and need something professional at a lower price, the a7 III is the best option, hands down. If you want to learn more about the a7 IV, I have a full review video on this camera, so make sure to check it out after this one. Now, lenses. What do you actually need for wedding photography? After your camera body, this is the second most important thing you invest in. And in my opinion, lenses matter even more than your camera. A good lens will sharpen your images, improve your depth of field, and make your photos look way more professional. The crazy thing is that lenses can be even more expensive than cameras, and it's so easy to get stuck in lens obsession mode, wanting to buy and test everything. Now, I've gone through a lot of lenses over the years, buying, selling, and testing, and I finally narrowed my kit down to what actually works for weddings. Before anything, a quick tip is that unlike camera bodies, in my opinion, lenses are safer to buy secondhand. You can find great deals on Facebook Marketplace or local camera shops. Just make sure to test them out in person before buying. But let's go through the most popular wedding lenses and their budget-friendly alternatives. Starting with the OG wedding lens, 24-70. If there is one lens that almost every wedding photographer uses, it's the 24-70 f2.8. I personally use the Sony 24-70 f2.8 G Master Mark II, and I love this lens. It's sharp, lightweight, and it doesn't flare as much as other zooms. Now, if you don't want to drop that kind of money, the Tamron 28-75 f2.8 is a fantastic alternative. That was actually the first lens I've ever invested in when I got into weddings. It's slightly less wide, but does the job. It's actually lighter and more compact than the Sony G Master, which is a huge plus for long wedding days. And most importantly, it's half the price. There is also the Sigma 2470 f2.8. It's more expensive than the Tamron, heavier, and in my opinion, it flares more and it isn't quite as sharp. So honestly, if you're starting out, I would 100% recommend the Tamron over the Sigma. Now, my telephoto lens, 70 to 200. This was the second lens I've ever bought, and while I don't personally use it for weddings anymore, I still think it's one of the most popular wedding lenses to this date. So if you want a telephoto lens for ceremonies, speeches, and candid shots from a distance, I would suggest getting the Tamron 70 to 180 f2.8. It's a great alternative to the Sony 70 to 200 G Master. Now, in terms of prime lenses, there are a few popular ones amongst wedding photographers. Starting with the 35mm, I have the Sigma 35mm f1.4, which is one of my favorite lenses. If you are looking for a cheaper alternative, the Sony FE 35mm f1.8, not a huge price difference, but if you find a secondhand deal, you could save a lot of money. Next, we have the 50mm, and I have the Sigma 50mm f1.4. I also have the Sony Zeiss 55mm f1.8, which is a little bit tighter but a great option. I actually bought mine for like 250 AUD on Marketplace, which is around like $100 USD, and it's truly a great option. Now, when it comes to 85mm, I have the Sigma 85mm f1.4. I love this lens. It's incredibly sharp and clean, and I like to pair it with either my 35mm or my 2470 G Master, and it's my two favorite wedding combos. A budget-friendly alternative would be the Sony FE 85mm f1.8, literally half the price of the Sigma one and still super sharp and reliable. Or you could consider the Viltrox 85mm f1.8 Mark II. I could also go into the 100mm and the 135mm lenses, which yes, I also have them, but I think that would drag this video out way longer than it needs to be. So with that being said, let's talk flash, because you definitely need one. Yes, you need a flash, and no, prime lenses can't replace it. Trust me, you don't want to find yourself in a dark reception venue without a flash. That would be a nightmare, and you would end up with the grainiest, low quality photos ever. I use the Godox V1, which is 259 USD. It's definitely one of the most popular flashes among wedding photographers. It's reliable, powerful, and it lasts. I used to have the Godox V863, which is slightly cheaper at 229 USD, but honestly, I would just go for the V1. If you're looking for a cheaper option, you could check out the newer round head flash, but I haven't tried it myself, so do some research if the Godox V1 is still out of your budget. And if you've been watching my videos for a while, you know that I always say that you definitely need a backup for your flash. So if you don't want to buy two flashes up front, you can definitely get yourself this little flash, Zenicor, and basically it's just a little mini tiny flash just in case something goes wrong, your V1 breaks, you still have a cheap little flash in your bag to save your. Now, SD cards and batteries, don't get caught unprepared. Just last month, I was shooting a wedding where the bride hired a videographer who had never shot a wedding before. Halfway through the speeches, he looks at me and says, "My battery is about to die, and I'm also running out of space." What do you do in this situation? He had a second videographer there with him, and so luckily she was still able to capture the rest of the speeches and some dance floor, but damn, you don't want to be in this situation like ever. So make sure to get backups. And I know that this is an investment that is not as excited as a new camera or a new lens, but it's definitely a must. But instead of getting original Sony SD cards, you can get these pro-grade SD cards, which I've used since the start and they've never failed on me. And instead of using Sony batteries, you can get newer batteries. I've been using them for years as well, and they've been super reliable too. Now, let's say you have zero gear and you're being hired to shoot a wedding. I hope you're second shooting, because I firmly believe you need a backup of everything before shooting solo. But for the sake of keeping a low budget while planning to reinvest, here's what I would start with. Get yourself a Sony a7 III for $1,698 USD. Start with one solid zoom lens like the Tamron 28-75 f2.8 for $799 USD. Then the Godox V1 flash for $259 USD, and two pro-grade 128 gigabytes SD cards for $110 USD total. Lastly, two newer batteries for $40 USD each. And that gives us a total of $2,946 USD. For under $3,000, you have a solid professional wedding photography setup that can get you started, make you money, and let you reinvest as you grow. You don't need every single lens or the most expensive gear to take amazing wedding photos. You just need reliable equipment that will get the job done. If you're still not sure what lenses you should invest in, I have a full video on my favorite lenses for wedding photography where I break down the best ones and how I use them. So check that out next, and I'll see you on the next video.